it's a must-win. Get this one out the way, win it, and then attack. And win this and Wolves, and then attack the hard ones.
Yeah, and this is also a team not used to backing up games quickly. That's not to say that they can't. They got their arse handed to them in the first half on Saturday. They played virtually most of the first-team players that they've got available. If you ignore the fact second half that Bournemouth dropped very, very deep, like really deep, and that Harrison comes on looking like peak Ryan Giggs for half an hour, that would be one slight concern for me coming into the fixture, that if they play him on the right-hand side against, we traditionally play left-sided left-backs, he'll be cutting in on his left foot. If he plays like he did in the second half against Bournemouth, I'll caveat it that they were that deep, they were inviting it, but he was dangerous with the crosses going into that back post. That's not something I'd be looking to invite there, really. But that aside, the point remains, all our big hitters had a rest. Like, it's rare that we go into a midweek game against a side like that where you go, actually, we've had the rest benefit. And even with the weekend fixtures, it's rare that we can say we're the ones with the rest benefit, and that's got to count. And also, I think their confidence takes a big knock. And it's one thing at 2-0 down when the opposition drop deep, building up a bit of a head of steam in the woodwork. But ultimately, that's because Bournemouth wanted it to be that way. When it was a game, they got picked apart and were pretty dreadful. And I think, I don't like this draw talk, absolutely no way. Like, I think Liverpool have got to go there, and I think this is more about being smart than anything else. In that last year, my only real concern is from last year, I don't want any ego here. In that last year we were very silly, niggly, stupid fouls, encourage the ref to give them free kicks, break momentum, load everyone in the box, dump stuff on us. You don't need to do that. Like, if they blast balls up to Beto, you don't need to compete. He's heading it to no one. Just, like, don't get engaged. I don't want Canate coming into this game going, right, I'm going to nail everyone. I'm going to show you how aggressive I am. I'm going to show you how I'm like this man mountain. It's about going in there really, really smart, pick the ball up, pen them in, turn the screw. And I think the biggest challenge for Slot in this one, which I think is a bit of a headache, is their centre-back partnership's really, really good. Outside of the Champions League teams, they are strong. So do you
in
go...
both boxes? Yeah,
Branthwaite and Tarkowski. I know Tarkowski's maybe dropped off a little bit in form, but this is one of them games where you imagine he's...
The person he is.
Yeah, I expect the better version of him in this match. And do you pick your number 9 striker like Darwin Núñez and go, you go against them, you make their lives hell, you create room for Mo? Or do you go, we don't engage with them? Actually, we play Diaz and Szoboszlai like 2 10s. We keep the ball away from their centre-backs. We kill these with movement and getting around the sides. And I think it's difficult. You can make a case for both. I think that's going to be... Now, there's an element that Slot can just go, well, I'll pick one. And if I don't like what I'm saying at half-time, I change. But I think if we get the first goal, I think we will win. If we're not silly first half, I think we batter these second half. I can see this being quite a dull first half. I honestly think we will hammer these second half.
Yes, I think, Phil, I was just mentioned this in the pre-match warm-up, so apologies for repetition for those listening, but I thought the manager was interesting in his press conference when he'd obviously watched back the game from last March or April, whenever it was, and he said they got, in the first 5-10 minutes,
10 free kicks,
11 out of 12 free kicks went their way. I do remember thinking at the time this referee's having a laugh, but it does show how a home crowd, and it will be a vociferous home crowd, can influence a referee. And Everton were able to build a bridgehead in our half, stopped us getting going, and were able to hurt us and worry us with their set pieces. To my mind, if I've watched that, if I'm the manager, I'm thinking, I want a sterile first 10 here. I don't want no cheap free kicks. I want a compactness. I want to ease our way into controlling this football match. And as Sean says, find a way to win in the second half if necessary.
Yeah, we did this on the team talk this morning as well, in terms of just talking about going and just sort of kill the game, take the sting out first 10 minutes.
Treats like a European away.
Yeah, exactly. That is exactly the phrase that I think Neil Docking used on that. So, repetition, but it's right, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is exactly how we should be approaching this. Nothing stupid. Don't give these stupid fouls away. Don't allow them to get a foothold on the game. Just use the ball. We can get the ball, move it round, and I think the centre back. I think our centre forward, their centre back thing is quite interesting. I think the two number 10s thing probably works when the centre backs have an interest in engaging you, like Bournemouth did. I'm not sure that Tarkowski in particular is going to sort of take the bait and engage. So I think I'll probably be going with the centre forwards option here. But on the point thing that you mentioned before, I think a point here means you're almost playing catch up for the next 4 games, and I think that's a really dangerous position to get into, because it sort of feels like as far as I'm concerned, and we're going to talk about how many points we're going to get and whatever, we can afford to draw one of these 5 games and it not be a disaster, not be the end of the world. But if you do the first one as the draw, it suddenly makes things really quite difficult.
Exactly.
When your last 2 are Manchester City away and a Newcastle side at home that'll be sort of bang up for it.
My other thing on the second half points, I think there is a little bit of a bit here where the last Derby and Goodison thing does play in. I think if Everton were 2 points ahead of 18th, the idea of you get whatever you can from this and you get out of Dodge, still under Sean Dyche maybe, or even if Moyes had been in for 3 months by this point, whichever way. I'm not saying, I think that Moyes is a different manager to Dyche, and I think it's an important thing to remember, but I think there'd be a bit of a thing of, right, we just get whatever we can and get out of this from an Everton point of view, and that would include the crowd. I think what could happen if it is tight in the second half, and I'm confident going into the game, but I think if it is tight with sort of 15 to go, I think there will be a thing in the Everton crowd and also in the players and in Moyes of, well, we might as well try and win it. Because the feel good that comes from winning it is the last derby at Goodison, all those hits, I think that is just going to have a bit more of a pressing thing, because they don't need to worry about what's happening behind them. They might already have enough points to be safe, as mad as that might sound. You know, the 3 who are currently in the bottom 3, they are not good sides.
So you can go 13th if they win, can't they?
Yeah, they can spring themselves up. They can feel good about the world, but also just more, you know, insofar as there's no reason for Everton to take a draw themselves. They might do, and they might decide they'd rather play spoiler, and no one wants to get beat. That's not my argument here. And if it's ironically almost in a way, if it's all Liverpool second half and it's 1-1, then there will be more of a mentality of we just get out.